Okay, we're on the air. This is the Node.js Benchmarking work meeting for February 25th, 2016. So far in attendance is myself, Michael Dawson, Gareth Ellis, and Ali Sheik. The agenda is a roundtable, update on progress on our benchmark infrastructure, discussion of running Acme Air, and review of the open issues. Any other business people want to add on to the agenda?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, so myself, I've been working on the benchmarking infrastructure and getting some of the initial benchmarks up and running. On the later, I'll fill in the details on the agenda item covering that, so I don't think I'll go into more details. That's mostly what I've been working on. Gareth?
Yep, so I spent a little bit more time looking at the regression that I'd spotted going from 0.12 to 4. I've narrowed it down to a particular change set in V8, which seems to be something to do with hydrogen. In doing that, I've spent quite a bit of time looking at building various bits of Node and also trying to find other ways of identifying where regressions are coming in and different tools that we can use to try and spot regressions. So that's mainly what I've been working on. I'll update the issue that's in the work group to see if anybody has any experience. I would imagine maybe Ali does with hydrogen, and I'm not too sure whether the change would actually affect anything else in the real world apart from this benchmark, so that's probably also worth discussing. Apart from that, I also put together the Acme Air scripts for running in the community, so hopefully we'll get those running regularly soon. That's about it.
Okay,
I'll do two things at the same time. First, question about the change you're mentioning. If that's documented somewhere, the change that you found to be causing the regression, I would be happy to take a look at that.
Okay, I'll post something.
Okay, and for an update for myself, so I was on vacation, and since we're back, have been looking at a few things related to benchmarking. Can't say a lot more at this point. Hopefully soon we'll be able to give something more concrete on what we're doing.
Okay. So sorry, I'm just going to note that in there. So back from vacation. Sorry, what would you say you're mostly doing?
Looking at benchmarks for Node.
Okay.
That's all I can say at this point.
Okay. 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 Right. So actions from the last meeting. Okay, I got them in the wrong spot, so let me move them over to the right spot in the doc. So myself, Gareth, and Surya, we're going to coordinate getting Acme Air into the community. So we've made some progress on that, but I'll cover that in the agenda item. Gareth was going to continue to investigate issue 20, which is, I think, what you just gave us an update on. Michael Paulson had volunteered to do some work on benchmarks for Require and events, which he did. He's contributed those. And in fact, I included the Require benchmarks in some of what we're currently running. And I was going to push forward with the content of 23, which was, getting the infrastructure into place, so I can give an update on that. Okay. So moving on to a progress on the benchmarking infrastructure. So Gareth provided some initial scripts for Acme Air, and so I've started to add those into our regular runs. Because the CI was down, haven't quite finished the last few steps of getting them to run regularly, but I have run them manually a few times, and it looks good. In terms of the overall infrastructure, I've got most of the pieces in place. The last ones are that we need to work from the build group to start mirroring the benchmark data to the Node website, as well as mirroring over the www directory from our repo so that we actually can display the results. In the short term, if you want to go to nodejs.devers.com 8080, that is where I'm basically doing what we'll do in the end, or something like it, where I'm mirroring over the charts that are generated and just displaying, giving a place where we can actually display them. So if you want to go there and open that up, we can take a look. I'm just navigating there myself. Have you guys got that open?
Yep.
Okay, so I just have a little bit of an intro that's like, here's what's going on. These are going to be maintained by the benchmarking work group. Here's what our mandate is. Generally what's happening. We run them daily and publish the results to this page. Once it's fully on the Node website, I think we'll make sure the contributors and collaborators are aware of it, and hopefully look for regressions after their commits go change in, and then the general call to get involved. And then you see the benchmarks and the data that's being generated to date. So the start and stop time one and the startup footprint were the first two, and so they've got the most data. Basically, every night the benchmark will run, and we'll get a new dot for each of the 3 releases that are shown. There are some interesting, results in there already, in that master's a little bit slower for starting and stopping, and 4.x is a little bit better, and then the 0.12x is the best of all, so it's kind of interesting. And similarly for the footprint, it looks like we've got a little bit more footprint, not necessarily a massive amount. The other kind of interesting thing is that the results seem relatively consistent if you look at like the 12 and 4.x lines. So other than those jumps, so we should look at those jumps and see, or those decreases, and see, well, do they actually match releases? And I think I took a quick look, and some of them did kind of look like they matched releases, which would make sense. But we still have to, I think, spend a bit more time to see how consistent they are, but they're not varying widely at all, which is good.
Is it possible to add release dates onto these charts? So, for example, for looking at the 4x or the 0.12,
Yeah.
it would be good to have a star at some point. 4.2.1 came out this day.
Yeah, I'm not sure that anything's possible. We'll have to see how we would do that. I think it would just be a matter of getting that data somehow and then adding it in to the legend. But it's definitely a good idea to try and do that. The require one was one of the new ones written by Michael Paulson. So there's the cached and uncached versions. Most interesting thing I see there is that master is actually significantly better than the earlier versions. That does make some sense, I think, in that I found a PR that I think Ben had put in, which was meant to improve this. And then the last 4 are the Acme Air ones, which we're just adding. Haven't quite added to the automated runs, but hope to actually finish to do that today. Now that we've got the machine back online, and I don't know that there's really enough data there to draw too many conclusions. But it kind of looks like it looks like master is better than the previous releases, at least for a good portion of them, which is good.
Yeah, the footprint after load for 0.12 looks a bit suspect, but
yeah. I think we want is the ongoing. So this is what I have so far in terms of the infrastructure. So if we can get those build issues closed, we'll hopefully have this either at something like benchmarking.nodejs.org or some page off the website itself. Any other questions or comments on that front? Not, I guess we'll move on to the next agenda item. Okay, let's see, where is my agenda here? Running Acme Air, so I think that was left over from the past ones. I think, basically we still need to look a little bit at the scripts and move them into the non-experimental section, but I think what we've got there, it certainly starts them up, shuts them down, and runs them on the benchmark machine pretty well. I think we might want to, Gareth, just document a little bit somewhere the things we've done, like pinning to particular CPUs and stuff like that.
Yep, that's fine. I can write something up.
Okay. So the next thing on the list of issues is to go through the open items. So let's flip over to the repo and do that.
Hey, by the way, sorry, I just got on. 2 p.m. Eastern PST, got those mixed up. Okay.
Okay. No problem. Hi. If you want to, we've gone through the roundtable, but you could give us an update of what you've been working on.
Sure, yeah. So I've been actually off of this for the last couple of weeks. We kind of had this Objective-C thing come up, so I'm now back into the world of nodes, and so either this week or next week I'll be devoting probably a few days to just finishing through all micro tests and then actually setting up more like TCP socket kind of connection tests, a little bit bigger HTTP style stuff, anything that I can put my hands on that it's going to involve the network. So that's kind of my goal.
Okay, and how much did you catch of the like I gave a bit of an update on the benchmarking infrastructure. That's that part.
Can you say that again? Kind of unexplained there.
Yeah, I was just wondering how much of the discussion we already had, or was it just when you introduced yourself?
I pretty much got none of the discussion that you guys have already had in this hangout.
Okay, so if you just go to nodejs.devers.com 8080, you can take a look at, this is a temporary site where I'm just pushing the data, but that's what I looked for. Something like that is what I'm hoping we'll get onto the Node.js website in the next week or so.
Okay.
And I've included the original startup footprint benchmarks along with the require one that you provided, and Acme Air, which we just added.
Okay.
So it's got the graphs and all that. So anyway, just a heads up. Okay, so flipping over to the issues, let's go through those. So 13 is, sorry, not 13, number 30 is a discussion on an alternative to JMeter.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the opener basically is working on an alternative to JMeter written in Node itself, and has volunteered to do some work, to build benchmarks using that tool for Node.js. I think I pointed him at the issues where we were trying to define the use cases / benchmarks that might be interesting. I think the one he mentioned is that somebody had mentioned, using Ghost as one of the benchmarks, and he'd look at building something for that. And I know, Gareth, you were also interested in maybe looking at it in terms of the use with Acme Air.
Yeah, it certainly looks interesting. I think the key bit will be is to make sure that we can drive Node to as fast as we need to.
Right.
Yes. I'd also like to know kind of what is the overhead of actually running that library, if we can get that. What percentage of time, like a quick flame graph, should we get?
Generally, I think it would be run on a separate machine, though, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Well, yeah, separate machine or just as another process on the same machine, I would imagine, for the way that we're running Acme Air at the moment. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a different core.
But yeah, having it in Node could certainly be interesting.
Yep. Okay, so that was just recent. 29 is just this meeting. 25 is the one that Michael, you opened. So I don't know if you have anything to add on that front. Michael, you're on mute now.
Sorry, yeah, I just realized I was on mute. Yeah, I'm going to respond to the latest comment, but besides for that, yeah, I think everything, I've kind of kept up with everything on that ticket. So, yeah, nothing to report there that wasn't in my status.
Okay. Number 22 is tracking startup speed. So, I think we have some initial benchmarks to do that. There still were a few discussions going on there in terms of, what to track and maybe how to optimize the tests. So I've left that open. 20. Go ahead. Oh, I think we lost Michael for a second. Well, I guess. Oh. Okay. So on to the next one. Regression. So number 20, yeah, I think that's the one Gareth's already talked about. 17, events benchmarks test. This is one where James mentioned there was a pull request into the core for the benchmarks for some events tests which didn't make it. I don't know, Michael. It might be good if you took a look at that because I think you just worked on some event ones and maybe comment on whether we still think they're needed or not.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
It was basically they're not going to land. If they're interesting, we should do something. So we should just take a look and decide. JS Perfect tool for benchmarking in Node.js IOJS. I don't know that there was any update on that. So yeah, there hasn't been an update on that for a while. So I don't think there's anything to talk about. Getting the first benchmark running. So I think that's really, related to the work that we're doing in terms of getting, those initial benchmarks published on the website. I think once that actually happens, I'll close that one. And there's nothing else to talk about there. Benchmarks for V8. Right. I think this one there was, some discussion that, if we put together a set of benchmarks, V8 might start running them as part of their benchmarks. But I'm not sure we're at a point yet where we would be able to say here's a particular subset that we would recommend or prioritize, right?
I could get one together that I know is very interesting to us at Netflix, which is really just around getting and setting properties. So building a simple LRU that just adjusts its order all the time is very interesting to us, at least. So we could get things together because that's set property, get property in their V8 stuff.
Right. So I guess it's like we should probably, if we think it's interesting, we should probably be running it ourselves first, right? And then
I definitely agree.
So maybe that's the first step. If you can, put the use case, document the use case, and say here's the benchmark. We can start running it, and then that's one of the candidates we would go back to them with. Say here's a set that would make sense to us.
Perfect.
Okay. Benchmarking dependencies, number 11. I think this was just some discussion about some potential issues. Yeah, so this is basically, okay, well, we should benchmark things like V8 as well. So that's kind of, I think that's a good idea, but, I think we want to ramp up our own Node benchmarks first and then get back to that, so we'll leave that open. Micro benchmarks. I think there hasn't been a comment on that one, or the candidate benchmarks. Or the last one, which is the benchmark use cases. So I haven't seen, there's been no comments on there to discuss. I think there's still just a general call that, what we really want to get to is the state where we've documented our key use cases, why they're important, and then, here's the benchmarks which actually test those particular ones. So, if you have time to think about or write up things on that, comment on those issues. That's all of the open issues at this point. Any other comments, discussion on those issues that people have? Okay. If not, then I think that's, let me look at the agenda again to see if there's anything else. No, I think that's all the issues. Any other topics people want to talk about before we close for today? Okay. If not, thanks for taking the time, and I'll set up a meeting for about a month from now to get back together again.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.